Morning lovely people, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. Big gap because I've got work to do. A couple of updates for you. First of all, probably quite significant actually. There wasn't a competition to name this bike, but Colin's won it if there was one. Although to be brutally honest, I had it in my mind anyway. Because I'm going to go orange, say hello to Tango, and at the moment I am being well and truly tangoed. Or the other version of it, it's from the 90s, I think, buddy cop movie, Tango and Cash, because at the moment it's Cash, not Tango. The fuel pump arrived, doesn't work, so I've gone back to the dude and said, I don't know, it may have come off a working bike, it's not working anymore, give me my money back. I hate shit like that. If you're going to sell stuff, make sure it works before it goes. But yeah, it's completely dead. I've tried it on the bike, I've tried it on a battery, no joy, no pumpy. Another bit from a suggestion was whether or not was to check that the tank fitted, and it's just dropped on. But yeah, good point, really good point. But look at the shape of that. That's going to look good. Me likey. Obviously, it's got the frame badges to go on, which fill in some of this and stop it from bouncing quite so much. But yeah, it's going to look cool if I can ever get it to work. So today is a clutch day, really. I haven't ordered the clutch yet. The plates, sorry, because my thinking is if I can't get it to catch at all, then it's probably the plates. I just want to see if they're burnt out. So they should have relief on them, and I don't think they do. So what I'm going to do is set you up somewhere, whip the bolts off. I've got a bit of card there to make a map so that I don't, because bolts are quite often different lengths, and battery power and all of that sort of stuff is off my little my old faithful, what I've had for bloody ages, fully charged off the solar panel last night, which is very green of me. I haven't dropped the oil. Now I know that's really stupid, but I am led to believe that on the side stand you don't need to, because all the oil sloshes that way. We'll see. I've got something there to catch just in case, and I will be yelling stop if it doesn't work. So I'm going to make up my map by jamming through a piece of cardboard, and then we'll get going with this bad boy. Right, so let's give this a go, see if I can this one I'm not going to be able to reach with this, but yeah, so this is the Allen key that I took apart for my CB1000 Forks. And it's the right size and it just reaches. That's handy. There you come. That's really handy. Always keep tools that you make. I'm not kidding, I always keep everything. Oh, I was going to go and get my hammer. So I might get away without using it. How much oil's going to piss out? Fucking none. Happy with that. Gasket seems to have stayed in place. Haven't really got much of one on there, but I'm not going to fuck around with it. Right. Step one. done. Let's get them buggers out now and check those plates out. Oh yeah. So I've got the cover with bearings on it. Right, I do want to keep these in order, but very little relief on those, and that's the outer ones. So it goes plate. I need a little hook to make my life easier. Absolute godsend, these little hooks. I use them for blooming everything. So, spacer, plate, spacer. There's very little meat left on these at all, which I think is a good thing, because it would explain why I can't change. Why the... Hang on. That wasn't on at all. What the fuck's going on there? So that was just off like that. Well, then it's no fucking wonder. You are shitting me. That's just spun off. Now I need to check, because that, don't know if you can see that. So what I've got is the main bolt in the middle holding all the shite on was off. So presumably those two tangs fall in there. Oh, happy fucking days. I think. So it was pulling on nothing. So that's got to go on. One of these side tangs needs to come up by the looks of it and pinch it on. Let me pull the clutch, if you like, which should push up and release those plates. Yep. And the springs will push it back down. Now if I undo that again, only just done it finger tight. Don't get me wrong, I am going to end up replacing these plates, I think, because it's been, so these have just been sat against each other. Fucking hell. So if that's doing that, it's just not going to pull it back in, is it? That's fucking mental. That's brilliant. Oh, wow. These clutch plates then have just been sat dry, have they? Even though... Right, I'm going to look up Try that again. I'll look up torque and all that sort of thing, but it does to me look like one of these tangs is half bent up, but only half, so somehow it's been put back together. They haven't done that. For fuck's sake. Not a lot of meat on these plates though. I'm going to carry on with the plates because if nothing else I can give them a half decent soak before I potentially put them back in. Yeah, they're all dry. Probably shouldn't be doing this in bare hands either. But they've just been sat on top of each other. Christ, there's loads of meat left on that. Trying to make sure I keep them in the right order. I'm trying to, sorry. I am making sure I keep them in the right order. I'll get the last one out then. With difficulty is the answer. No. Come on, you fuckers. Come on. Go the last one. Doesn't actually look all that bad. Look a bit light, but that was the fucking problem, I'm sure. I'm well happy with that. Well, not well happy with that. I don't like finding stuff full stop, but actually that would explain a lot, because what I essentially had was no friction on there. There's got to be a reason why that bolt's there, surely. Right, I've got a club run to do for the kiddies. I'm going to look that up. That can't be right. Cool. Right, so dad duty's done for the moment. It's been a good couple of hours. 27mm socket seems to be the one that I'm after. I've done a bit of googlage. It seems to be 70 newtons. Ah, fuck, I've got to stop that bastard spinning over somehow. I forgot about that. Right, as tight as I can go, not 70. But it's as good as I can get. Now can I get this off? Brute force and ignorance wins again. Right, it might not be 70, but let's face it, it was 0 before, and it's a damn sight closer now. Right, so let me get something to try and bend those tangs back a bit. least one of them. I'm sure I'm going to have to revisit this. That's one tang over. That'll do me. I haven't got a hammer. Why have I not got a hammer to reach? Excuse my groin. Always got a hammer to reach. Craftsman's favourite tool. Right, that's it, bent over. Enough for me. I don't want to jimmy it too much against the... There we go. Against a relatively soft basket. That seems really fucking a lot of... Oh well, that's what the book says. What the fuck do I know? Right, so I may not be quite at 70, but I'm as close as I can get without a clutch tool, which I am going to order. This is the second time I've done a clutch, and the second time without, so I do need one. But let's face it, it's closer than it was, i.e. 0. So yeah, the tangs are bent over. I have dug out the service manual. I've just checked the thickness of the plates, and actually they're well within limit. 294 to 306, with the limit being 2.8 millimeters. These are 3 and 2.9, so they're still within spec. So I'm content to chuck them back in. Content to chuck them back in. I was going to chuck them back in anyway. Let's be brutally honest. No, right, let me get a bit. Excuse my head. I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess, which fundamentally means I'm going to make a mess. So they have been in soak for a fair time. That's the wrong way round. No, you fucking moron. Try and get them back in roughly the order they went in on. They had a decent soak. I've got the plates over here. They're going to get nothing more than a wipe over. Yeah, that's fine. So let's get these fuckers back in. So plate spacer. Now we've got a slightly lipped edge on one side and more so than the other. I'm just going to try and make sure I've got them all the same way. If they're all wrong, they're all wrong, but at least they're all the same. The book has got both of those tangs pulled out, so I'm going to have to do that in a minute. Getting a quick wipe off, making sure they're going the same way. This is going to get very boring to watch, so I'll fast forward it from here. Right, I just had to check then. Right, I just had to check then if there was any correct or incorrect way of orientating this, because on my diversion there was. Now on this there doesn't appear to be. Well, there's certainly nothing in the service manual that says that. But a previous one where there was a dot that you had to line up. I can't see it on this. No, there's no markings. So I can only assume that it is a free choice. Right, the springs springs. Hello, springs. There we go. No, there we go. Springs, clutch spring length, 34.9 mil. Limit is 34.3 mil. Not the greatest calipers in the world, but they'll do for a cheapy set. 34.6, so I'm well within spec for them, which can only be a good thing. Now these are to, I will check before I lie to you, I think they're only 8 Newton meters load on these. Which is surprisingly light, I think. Oops. I think there is certainly evidence on this that they've been over tightened at some stage. So we'll just be a bit careful. And they're supposed to be tightened in a diagonal opposite fashion, which makes sense. Cover back on. Let's just check the torque settings on the cover, but that's low as well, I think. Right, there we go. I do have a torque setting on my drill. I've no idea how accurate it is. I don't particularly trust it, but hey, there or thereabouts, eh? Right, we're back on. I've made a remarkably little mess for me, which is rare, shall we say. Okay. I suppose it's time to test, isn't it? So, what do I need? I need to reattach that clutch cable first at the top end and get the bike stood up. Right, that's it. I'm thoroughly fucking confused. I'm all squared away on the other side. I've tried the adjustment in and out. So that's now all the way in. So let's then gives me a nice tight handle. I just don't think it's doing what it needs to. I'm currently in first. I can stop the wheel. Just going to have to spin you around a bit because you're going to fall over on a slope. After a lot of frustration and a lot of fucking around, I think I've worked it out. I could probably do this better, but I have several iterations of 7 and 8 there, which, as you can see, I should do this my proper way, but I can't be bothered, I'm frustrated. 7 and 8 friction plates and clutch plates. I've got enough of those. Now, interestingly, it's also got 9 and 10. Which are down as friction plate large and clutch spring plate. I haven't got those, and consequently the basket isn't closing onto it, if you follow my drift. So it's not engaging, it's disengaging fine, but when it tries to engage it hasn't got enough squeeze to squeeze all the clutch plates together and drive the gears, which is fucking irritating. I mean, the guy that sold it did say that, you know, that his clutch was knackered. Well, the clutch is knackered because it's fucking not complete. Bollocks. Right, I'm going to tag it back together and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to throw it back together more than anything else so I don't lose things. But that's fucking irritating, and it's taken me literally hours to work out. Back on, I just counted 9 plates, so 9 plates and spacers, and this is the problem. So this is, on pulling the cable, this pushes out, disengages, and you let go, springs push it back and it engages. Now I've got space, that can't be fucking right, so just grab and have a look at the manual again. Right, looking for experts because I'm struggling. All of the kits that I find have got 9 discs, friction discs. They don't have what's listed here as a friction plate large. Friction plates, I mean, sorry. And a clutch spring plate is pretty much drawing me up blind. Yeah, I think I'm gonna lift a plate. No. Let's have a look at Fowler's. Right, a bit more shopping. Fowler's tends to be not necessarily for buying parts, for finding out what you need, finding out what it's called, and occasionally the part number. Oh. So 4 and 5 on here. As you can see next to my thumb, look like normal plates. It's 10 and 11. Because I've got multiples of normal plates but nothing that looks like 10 or 11, which I think would just add more packing to that element, and I think that's the problem. So I think I'm after a plate friction 2 and a spring clutch boss. Right, I'm going to throw them back together and kick the dog. Obviously I'm not, but that's kind of the spirit that I'm in at the moment. It's just frustrating. Right, so it's a fair bit later. I've shut up shop for the day, packed everything away, all nice, safe and secure. I've done a little bit of looking. It's fucking irritating when things like this happen, but things like this happen. So you just put your big boy trousers back on and get on with it. It is a little frustrating, and I'm now shopping. I'm struggling to find the clutch boss spring. A few inquiries to see whether or not another bikes will fit in, because I can't seem to get one for the Fazer. Though if I remember correctly, the Thundercat is the same, but I'll do some digging around and ask and see what the score is. But it's kind of halted progress ever so slightly on that bit. And it's now a decision as to whether or not I go ahead and start stripping without necessarily knowing that it's going to play the game. But I'm adamant that's what it is. It doesn't have, it has 9 plates, 8 spacers. It doesn't have the boss. It doesn't have the friction plate 2s in it. It's just got a straight set of plates in there. So I think someone's just jammed some in and hoped for the best and failed, which is really irritating, and probably what took it off the road in the first place. Which would make sense. So what? Well, I think I may spend the evening reading up on welding, because if I can't get on with that while I'm waiting, while I'm waiting for the post. I haven't ordered anything yet, but you know what I'm saying. While I'm waiting for postage stuff, I may as well get on with what I can, which frankly is probably the frame and the tank. Not quite the order I wanted to do it in, but I don't really want to start, trying to take that lump engine out until I prove to myself that it works. It's enough to drag the bike, and once I go through the arsake of trying to get it out of there and put it into here, that it's going to work when it lands. Thanks for the tips, people, on actually moving it around and unloading it. The most popular option seems to be strip everything else off, drop the bike on its side and pull the frame out rather than pull the engine out, which seems entirely sensible. I mean, the frame is heavy, but it's nowhere near as heavy as that engine, and obviously drop all the fluids, etc., beforehand. But yeah, daunting, but I'm looking forward to that. Never done it before. Right, so I wish it was like the Matrix, where you could just plug in a program and I can weld. Yeah, life ain't that good. Cheers all. I'll catch you later on. Ta-da.